What up, YouTube? You can't stop trading and investing with your boy James E. Wow. We're gonna go over that Humbl conference call and the things that I found important, my analysis of it, the things that I think will help propel this thing to the next level. I didn't necessarily get to do a video yesterday. I had a prior engagement once the conference call was over, so I didn't get a chance to do it. I've noticed that there was a lot of people covering it, so there is a lot of coverage of this conference call out there. So I'm not going to get full on into details. I just want to get to the highlighted points that I think are important for this company moving forward. But before I do that, man, please click that like button. Please subscribe. It is very much appreciated. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy that likes to research and analyze anything that I find interesting in the stock market. And I like to share that with anybody willing to listen. So that being said, man, let's just get right into it. So Humbl Pay, as we all know, Humbl. It's basically a hub that combines merchants and consumers all in one, a social media platform, an exchange area / review / marketplace / financial center, all revolved around these three: Humbl Pay, Humbl Marketplace, Humbl Finance, basically modeling Alibaba and the way they do it in China with Alipay, Alibaba Marketplace, and A&T Financial. Just the only difference is that Humbl is actually trying to go global compared to Alibaba, who is just in China. So they had said that they are launching into 40 countries in February. So that's going to be huge. That is a potential huge catalyst, since we are at the end of January and going into February, that this could potentially be a huge catalyst that could propel this thing. Again, man, as long as it's not priced in already, it is a potential catalyst that could give us a nice boost for February. So that was the main key news of that launch. We already know, I've done the videos on this prior from the very start about, actually getting into the details of Humbl. And that's pretty much what they did. They kind of just reviewed from that last press conference they did in December 9th. And it's basically the same stuff. So I just want to go over, just a highlighted version of the things I found important. So right here, I thought this was very interesting. Their merchant service cloud. So they're trying to actually trademark it, which would be amazing if they can get it. So the merchant service cloud is built to provide merchants the ability to go digital and integrate systems like the POS with debit card, credit cards, and even trade like cryptocurrency or digital currencies. And it also provides a more fluid transaction over sales by eliminating, like bullshit and headaches like paperwork and middlemen situations, and go straight to a cloud-based documentation, which actually helps out a lot in some of these smaller areas, these key zones that they're trying to target, because a lot of it is cash heavy. And if they make it an easy transaction for them to go digital, which is why they're placing these Humbl hubs in these areas, because a lot of these areas, unlike the US, pretty much almost everybody in the US owns a smartphone. And a lot of these companies, a lot of these targeted zones, they don't necessarily are up to date in technology like we are here in the US. And I think sometimes as a US citizen and someone who's not actually familiar with these different rural areas in our world, there are places where they don't have access to smartphones or smart technology. So these Humbl hubs will help that out a lot. And building a merchant service cloud will actually help out the merchant, because it's an integrated system where it's just a couple clicks and then boom, they're good to go. So I think that is a pretty amazing technology that could go a long way. And not to mention, I also watched the previous conference call, and the fact that Brian Foote and his team actually not only did their homework in these countries, but actually went and visited them and were hosted by government officials and people in charge of these countries, and sat down and have talks about what these places need as far as finance goes and the accomplishment of this company and what they're trying to accomplish. The fact that they actually go to these areas and sit down and talk to the consumers and talk to the merchants and dig deep into the understanding of what they need and what they can provide as a service, I think that is amazing. And this merchant service cloud, if they get that trademark, that'd be amazing. As you can see right here, it goes from searches to maps to ratings and reviews, text ordering, special documents and offers, and CRM and social media. So again, man, just that whole connection of an entire connection from social media to just basically extremely similar to Alibaba, but they want to expand and grow bigger and refine the process to make it easier for the consumer and for the merchant. So, I thought that was a good highlighted point because they actually went to these areas and dug deep into understanding what the consumer and the merchant need. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then this was the main highlighted point of the entire conference call, which was Humbl Financial. And you could tell Brian Foote was extremely excited about this. This is his baby. This is the direction I think they truly want to go, which is going to be amazing because it's also integrating a trading platform very similar to the ones we use in the stock market. And that's pretty much exactly what they're trying to accomplish. And so he shows this chart of new historical trading markets, which again, in the New York Stock Exchange in the 1920s, in the beginning, had the huge run before a crash. And then, NASDAQ in the 1990s had a huge run before a crash. And then now he's showing in 2017 the digital assets. That's when Bitcoin got really hot and had a huge run and then a crash. So he's just showing, the historical data of when a new marketplace surfaces. It gets really hot in the beginning before it has a crash, because I remember when Bitcoin first came out and there was a lot of doubt about Bitcoin. There was a lot of doubt about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And then now, let's fast forward to now 4 years later, it's starting to become the norm, guys. And that's exactly what Brian Foote believes. He actually believes that this digital asset class is going to be the new norm. And the old ways of, the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ are going to eventually die out. And, the old institutional banks and the way we deal with money will eventually transition all to digital assets. So that being said, they also acquired the intellectual property from Block 30, and I have gotten a lot of comments about that, about what's going on with Block 30. Well, they completely acquired it, so Block 30 is now part of Humbl Financial, and they have 2 patents pending. The first patent they have is an instant settlement network for Humbl Pay, which pretty much ties into the merchant service cloud. It's just a way to eliminate bullshit and make transactions a lot easier, so they don't have to go through that paperwork. Everything will be documented in the cloud. Everything will be digital documentation. And so that's a patent that they have pending right now. The other patent is a synthetic marketplace to tokenize, trade, and pay for assets, which is exactly like a similar to a brokerage company. So the way they plan on doing that is by these ETXs, which is just like an ETF or a mutual fund, basically an index. And that's something that they're working on because they truly believe that they're migrating towards blockchain technology. And I kind of believe that too for our future, man. Fintech is hot, and I think financial technology will eventually be the norm for us that are moving forward into the future. For these millennials and I'm thinking 10, 20 years from now, in that kind of area. Migrating to blockchain technology, mutual funds, as they show again, pretty much like they showed in this slide. They're just comparing them all, and now it's ETXs, which I find pretty interesting, because the way that they want to set it up, they want to set it up like a traditional index, like the S&P 500, where they put multiple companies. Well, in this case, blockchain, cryptocurrency, so multiple tokens, multiple coins in a basket, and put it all in one, and then be able to sell you. For a consumer to be able to purchase that as an investment. So to give you an idea of that, Humbl Financial, as you can see, their index products, Block 3, Block 5, Block 10. So they did a sample of Block 3. So Block 3 is basically a holding of Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Digibyte. So that would be, you're paying for an investment in that index, Block 3, for you to buy a piece of those 3 combined. And so I'm assuming block 5 and block 10 would be 5 coins, and block 10 would be 10 coins. And then they want to separate it into different thematic products, which is kind of similar to what the stock exchange does now, when they have their different sectors: financial sectors, shipping sectors, oil and gas, shit like that. So block government, block platform, block global enterprise. So that seems to be the direction Brian Foote really wants to go, and then able to integrate all these into one platform will be truly amazing, especially since they're targeting globally. Just to put it in perspective, they're targeting somewhere around 7.8 billion people globally, compared to Alibaba, who's the second biggest player, which that's where they're adapting. The main process is from Alibaba. They're just in China alone at about 1.5 billion people. So just to put it in perspective, the market they're trying to capture is extremely huge, and a lot of these little key zones that they're targeting haven't necessarily adapted any type of technology compared to how it is the norm for us as U.S. citizens. So I thought this was extremely interesting. What it means for the future, I honestly don't know, but I do believe that the process that they're putting in place, excuse me, the process that they're putting in place, they're extremely patient. They're really working on making sure that everything is good. And then as far as this goes, this actual, this technology of being able to purchase this, so far, they're only going to launch it in Singapore because of regulations and compliance issues. They still have to go and do their homework and all the paperwork for U.S. So this will not be available for U.S. citizens. This won't be available for us. And he talks about making sure that they put up those firewalls to make sure that we are not allowed to purchase these products, purchase these indexes for us for investments and financial gain. It'll just be launched in Singapore because in Singapore they have the regulations in place and they have the compliances in place, and then they're working on that as we speak for that to go globally. So and it seems like this is the core product that Brian Foote is really excited about. And that's great because we've never seen any type of app that houses a marketplace, a social center, and that houses all these components. I mean, a search center, a map, ratings and review, text ordering, it's everything combined you could think of, from social media to Amazon to Venmo and PayPal, to Yelp. And now, obviously, now they want to integrate some type of brokerage system all in one platform. So it's easy for the consumer and easy for the merchant to all be in one place at one time. It kind of reminds me somewhat of like Facebook and Instagram, and how much they've changed and grown and adapted over time. But they're going even further, which is amazing, man. So it can mean really big things for Humbl. Now, as far as what it means in the chart pattern for me personally, as I talked about in the previous video, if you haven't watched it, please go and do so. When I repurchased my 7,000 shares and it finally broke the 39, I started noticing that dip and it was going down. So I winded up selling my 7,000 shares for another like $100 profit. Just took a quick profit on it, and then sure enough, we had this drop. But the beauty about that drop is that we're seeing some base in the 34 area. So that could be a potential base. When the market opens on Monday, depending on how well this news circulates, if it breaks below that 34, I'm definitely watching for a dip buy opportunity. And I'm thinking if it breaks below that 34, we might dip to 32, or we'll be down here back into the 30 range. But I'm gonna wait to see some basing if we do have a dip. Like I said, just in case that this is already priced in, very similar to the run we seen here before the conference call. They're pricing everything in, then the conference call comes and drops. So that could very well happen. It can, okay? I'm not saying it will, I'm saying it can. And, so we had this nice run here, and we couldn't have a sell-off of the big boy players in this game who are holding a lot of shares. We could have a potential sell-off, and if we do, I'll be sure to dip by it. But if the news came in strong and we have a lot more buyers take over, and we start getting a squeeze from that, when it breaks this 39, I am definitely going to be a buyer there. So either way, I've said it in the last video, whether it dips or runs, I'm going to be a buyer at the breakout or I'm going to be a buyer at the dip. Either way, I'm still in this stock. I'm very comfortable with the price action and the way it moves. And everything about this company, I'm loving the direction they're moving in. Everything Brian Foote talked about, you could tell he's a very intelligent man and he's very passionate about what he's doing. And if you put intelligence and passion together, you could create a lot of great things. And they're doing it the right way. They're taking their time. They're being meticulous. They're targeting certain areas, and they're actually going to these areas and sitting down and talking with the merchants and consumers and the government leaders in those areas. And when you have the government backing you for something you want to accomplish in that particular region or country, that is a great thing. They also talked about potentially acquiring certain hubs, not necessarily the Humbl hub, but like certain targeted areas. If they feel like they could come in and do a better job than those who are in those areas of that country, they have talked about acquiring certain areas, so that way legally they could go in and operate it themselves. And then they also talked about potentially selling rights to certain people in certain key zones that they feel could do a better job propelling this thing in the future and propelling the Humbl brand. So they also hit on those things as well. So just a quick review of the things I felt important, and what I think will lead, what I think will cause a movement. Honestly, I don't know until Monday. This thing could go either way because, again, due to the news, me personally, I think it was a great conference call. And I think that the highlighted points and the things that they mentioned can propel this thing further. But again, the question is it already priced in? Or are we going to get attacked and we're going to have a huge seller and drop off? If that happens, that's not to say the stock is dead. That's just to say we had just a huge seller collecting profit. And, when it drops, I believe it'll eventually break this 39 again. So it's just a matter of the game being played by the traders at this point when it comes to the actual chart pattern. So it could go either way from my perspective. But as far as the news goes, this thing is still an amazing company and they're moving in the right direction. And just understanding Brian Foote and his team and the due diligence and the footwork they put in, doing 20-hour days, it goes to show how passionate they are. And when, like I said, if you put intelligence and passion together, big things are going to come. So that's going to be it. A short review on this conference call. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think of my analysis on it. Let me know what you guys think are going to happen Monday, man. I mean, I truly believe this thing will eventually break this 39. Will it happen on Monday or next week? I don't know. We won't know until Monday. But either way, whether it breaks out or it dips, I'm going to be sure to capitalize on either or. So that's going to be it for today, guys. If you made it this far, please click the like button. Please subscribe. You Can't Stop Mafia is a mindset movement, meaning never stop yourself, never stop your progress, never stop your education, especially in finance. Having multiple streams of income is an amazing thing, and the stock market is a place where you can do that. So TSMP, Humbl, a pretty good conference call from my perspective. A lot of great things. And it seems like Brian Foote is extremely excited about. So that's going to be it for today, guys. I'll be sure to keep you updated as much as possible. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.